They're not talking to me directly to say, you are smoking, but why are you smoking or anything? It's kind of like passing remarks and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
But when I met this guy, his parents were smoking, and that's kind of like, okay, I can be myself. And I still remember there was a moment when I was like, we're having an argument, and he said, you are a two-faced person. You pretend to be this good girl with a family, but then they don't know this other side of you and all that. So there was a part of me that was basically looking for acceptance. And this is the thing: if you don't feel accepted or free to be ourselves, because at times, even if somebody's being whatever that they're being, but it gives you an opportunity to start a conversation, to understand where you can share opinions. And it's not even sharing opinions to say yours is wrong, because we can share what we share. We may not agree in something, but it's also honoring the other's truth. This is your truth, this is my truth, and can our truth coexist
Yeah.
without me taking away or withdrawing my love because you don't agree with what I'm saying? And I think this is a big part of parenting. This is a big part of a relationship. You can talk to your, and even when you're talking about sexual energy and even the desires, those wild desires that we each have, are we open to just have that conversation? What is it that you truly desire? What is your fantasy? And it doesn't mean that just because I have this fantasy, you are forced to give it to me or do it with me. It's more like just receiving what the other is sharing. If at all the person is open, it's kind of like, oh, I would love to try that. It's a conversation. And you're not saying, oh, when somebody, because especially for us women, it's kind of like, if I want this, if I want to do something, then I'm a bitch, I'm what, like, we're afraid of those labels. So at times we repress our desires when it comes to our, especially husband or whatever. But then this is why at times people do mistakes, and then they meet somebody who's gonna give them that fantasy, and it's kind of like, oh my god, I feel alive.
Yeah, no, that's oh, ain't that the truth? Like, and on the the other side of the coin, that like really goes for us men as well. Like there's there's a expectation for us to to treat a girl nice, treat a lady nice, and provide for your family, because like that's what a man is supposed to be. You're supposed to be a provider. You're supposed to
Yeah,
fight for your family, and love a good woman and all of that. So that's really what many of us men, as boys, are being told. And when you fool around with a as they would call it in like my parents' days, a loose woman, someone who
I love that word.
has had more than one partner. I mean, like, experiment all you want. That's what your teens and your 20s are for. Um, but then, like, you're immediately labeled as well, because like, oh, why can't you just find a good woman to settle down with, have a couple of kids, like, two kids, a dog, and a white picket fence, and all of that. And I mean, some men are like still that traditionally minded. Like, I would love that myself. That's why I'm trying so hard to get my wife over here to the Netherlands, so we can make that happen, because we have found that stability in each other.
Yeah,
But some men are still men. Having a family, and settling down is just not for them. They want to skydive, they want to bungee jump, they want to like do all these adrenaline junkie things, or just travel. But no, as a man, you need to find a good wife, settle down, have a couple of kids, have a stable job. It's all these expectations. And even with pregnancy, like, don't you dare get a girl pregnant, because then you're stuck with her and stuck with the child,
oh
and
yeah,
you don't even maybe you'll end up not even liking her, or not liking
yeah,
the child, or whatever. Like, there's such a it's such a taboo. But then, like, there's also what is like really coming up in the Western world now: too much sexual freedom as well, where parents are just like, oh yeah, just you know go do it. If that's what you want to do, if that's who you want to do, go. Like no boundaries, no limits, which is not healthy either. So it's really one or the other. It's either very strict and um very negative, or it's very, just way too loose, and there are no boundaries. There really isn't a healthy in between, because sex, for all intents and purposes, even in 2024, there's still a taboo on it.
Yeah.
You're still not supposed to talk about it in polite conversation. Like politics and sex, those are the two things that you leave out of any conversation, because like
Yeah.
that can only cause friction. But I mean, we've all done it, we've all had it, like our parents have done it, like at
We
least
wouldn't be
once.
here.
I'm here, so at least once successfully. Let's put it that way.
I
uh,
just love everything you shared. Yeah. I just love it because, and this is what I say. What I say is, even when you're talking about the patriarchal wounding, we're thinking that this has only affected women, which is not true.